So here are the 3 most popular bags in FPV. I'm going to compare and contrast them all and try to give you my opinion and my real life use to help you decide which one might fit you. First and foremost, this is a luggage bag that I have traveled all over the world with. And this bag fits in every single overhead compartment except for the smallest planes, which they even take your little carry-on bags from you because nothing fits in the overhead compartment. You will notice that the largest bag of these 3 is still smaller than my carry-on. And even in those tiny little planes, which they take all your stuff from you, this backpack, I have had a large backpack, would be considered a personal item. So they wouldn't actually take this from you to check it. This bag will most likely stay with you if you are traveling. I know this is not the main purpose of this bag, but we'll get that out of the way. So let's initially start with the Lowepro. So we're going to go over the pros and cons, and this is the first con of this bag. It does not sit upright. You can sort of get it to balance upright, but as soon as you strap a quad to the front of it, it's too top heavy and it just tips right over on its front. Not so great. The front of this bag is really nice that it's rubberized, except that you pound on this and you think, oh yeah, it's really nice and sturdy, and you open it up and you're hoping to see you can fit stuff in there, but you can't fit anything in there. There's nothing in here. And these things are so tight that you can't actually put your tools or any instruments in there. The side pockets are really nice and really stretchy, but these side pockets are, again, too tight to really fit anything into. So you don't even use the front of this bag much aside from holding quads, because you can't put much on it because you can't access it. And the reason you can't access it is because the bag opens from the back. And this might be a nice feature that you don't get your back dirty because you might put your bag down in wet grass or something, but it's really not functional. So let's open it. First thing you'll notice when you open this bag is that it doesn't actually open. It's a $150 bag that doesn't actually open. Every time you open the bag, you are actually stressing that zipper, which, not to mention, is just a regular zipper. It's not a reinforced zipper or anything like that. Anyways, so now you open the bag. The cover of the bag, you can put stuff in these little slots here, but again, these zippers are very tight. Can't really fit much into these pockets at all, so you don't really use that. The only real space you can really use is the inside space here, which Start from bottom up. You get this little pouch, which is cool. I was using it for my prop bag. That's nice. And these slots are very nice. You'll notice that these sidewalls are not very rigid. And then you have this area here, which you're supposed to put 2 quads in, although 2 quads will not really fit, because if you have crap on the door and try to close it, it doesn't fit. You have to take all your antennas and everything off to get it to fit. To take out anything that you need to fly with, you have to remove this, and that's where you access your controller and your goggles. This is a nice compartment. I like the controller compartment, and I like the goggle compartment, but while the bag from the front appears like it's nice and taut and firm, it's actually not very protective. As you can see, if it gets knocked down on the top, you're not really protecting anything. It's only really protected from here. And the sidewalls are also, they're firm, they're good. The sidewalls are good. I like the sidewalls, they're nice and rigid. But that's this bag. Put it back together. Even with nothing in it, it's cumbersome to use. Let's look at the Session. Also not my favorite bag, although I don't know if it's a step up or a side step. It's different. It's a different bag altogether. This bag is intended for the quick FPV session, as its name implies. So the front of it, you got the weather pouch down here, similar to the Lowepro. There's a weather pouch. Got a nice pocket up here. You can strap your quads to the front here. There's a nice pocket on the side here, nice pocket on the side here, and a nice little side pouch back here, which is cool. These pockets are spacious, so you can actually use them. There's one strap here that's built in for you to put like a tripod and hold it in there. That's very nice. And then the trick of this bag is when you open it. When you open it, you notice that, first and foremost, the bag does not have much structure to it. All the structure stems from the inside and these slots. The door is very limp, as you can see. You can load it up and the pockets are very spacious, but it's limp. And the walls are also very limp. These slots are nice in that you can access everything you need to access at any given time. But for the most part, you're not going to be fitting as much gear in this bag as you would in the Lowepro or the Helipak or any other larger bag. This bag is good if you're using like an Evolution controller or just pack light, because if you're using a Tyrannus or anything more standard, you need to have like a controller bra or some kind of controller protector before you put it in this bag. I'm not a fan of this thing, so I'm not really a great fan of this bag. It is a good bag for people that pack light. That being said, for these 2 bags, I would not recommend either the Session or the Lowepro, because neither one really fits the bill, and you're going to spend a bunch of money on them, but the bag you're probably using right now is more convenient to use than the Lowepro, and probably fits a little bit more and is easier for you to function with than the Session. So it's hard for me to recommend either one of these bags. That being said, both of them are really nice on the back, nice and padded and foam, and they do hold all your gear. And if you are looking for a small bag that's nice to transport with, the Session is going to be your go-to. I would not recommend the Lowepro for a number of reasons, and you'll see why next. This is my choice bag. This is the ThinkTank Helipak, FPV Helipak. You will see next to the Lowepro bag that it's about the same size. They're just about the same size, except that the Helipak just fills out the cube of space that it takes up. And you can see sideways, they are about the same size. The Helipak just fills out that whole cube of space. Also, the depth, you will see that they are just about the same size. So that's great. But the biggest benefit about the Helipak, we'll go over the outside real quick. It's got these 2 dedicated straps for these side things. You can put tripods and whole mounts of sorts in here. Strap all your stuff to the front here. It has a laptop slot, which is very nice. Although, this is a divider that I wasn't using. Although, the cover is a little bit flimsy, but that also allows you to pack stuff inside the bag and lets it like bubble a little bit. So that's kind of nice. And here is the biggest difference in terms of this bag against the Lowepro. It's really hard to show in video. I'm going to try to right now. But check out this zipper. Check out the zipper on the Lowepro. This is just a regular zipper. There's nothing special about this zipper. And I really don't have much confidence in this zipper. Check out the zipper on the ThinkTank Helipak. This is a massive zipper. I have a lot of confidence in the zipper. I don't think it's going to rip. On top of that, check out the zipper on the Session. Once again, a hugely upgraded zipper. So, number one, the materials used in the Helipak and the ThinkTank bags are better quality. The cover on this thing is, I think it's all vinyl, and the cover of this is all polyester, and I think the backing of the material of the fabric has like something on it to kind of build up its heftiness and make it stiffer. I thought the Lowepro was really, really fantastic quality when I first got it, and it does look fantastic because it's a good looking bag. I think it's the best looking of the bunch, but once I took a look at the ThinkTank bags, I mean, they blow the doors off this thing in terms of quality, in terms of construction quality. You wouldn't notice it initially, but when you look at fine details, the stitching, the material being used, this bag is going to hold up way better than this bag. This bag looks, I hate to say it, cheap compared to the ThinkTank bags. All right, so now let's open it up. The biggest benefit about this bag, first and foremost, you're going to notice this. When you open up the top, it actually opens. You're not stressing the bag. When you open the bag, you've got two pockets up here, which are very nice and spacious. You can fit whatever you want in there. And then you have the business space. So I don't usually put my quads inside the bag, but this thing is so big that I would like, I mean, it's nice. I never even thought that I would do that, but it's not a bad option. It's great. You can put 2, 3, if you take off the props and antennas, you can probably file like 4 or 5 quads in here. So that's great. My controller, okay, so I had to reorganize all the inside walls of this bag. And I organized them in a way that everything kind of fits in nice and tight and snug, and everything is protected. My gimbals are not touching anything. You can see there, it can't touch anything if it tried. So I have no worry about my gimbals. And the side wall of the bag is such that it's the same height as your controller, so you can file it sideways. The biggest benefit of this bag is that you can access everything at all times, and everything stays inside the bag, whereas the Lowepro, you have to dump everything out. And the Session, it's better about not having to dump everything out, but it's a flimsy bag. It doesn't have the sturdiness of this bag that I like a lot. All my tools are on the outside here, very easy to access. This prop bag over here, another prop bag down here, 2 bags in here that I don't even know what I'm going to use for yet. My IDST field charger over here, and I guess I'll eventually somewhere put a massive battery in there. And my goggle battery and my controller battery charger down there. And what is this? These are my repair instruments. Some more tools and all my repair items with my screw kit. This bag is particularly good because, first off, I usually don't put my quads in the inside. Even if I'm traveling on a plane, I usually strap it to the outside, which means that I have all this extra space in here for clothing or anything else I need to carry. I could probably fit 2 or 3 days worth of clothing in here, along with maybe a jacket on top, and just let the top of it balloon over the clothing. So that's excellent, which means I probably don't need a full carry-on, a secondary carry-on or a secondary bag in order to travel for a couple of days. That's a huge advantage to me. If you're going to spend money on one of these 3 bags, the only bag that I can really recommend you actually spend money on is the Helipak. And I know it's more expensive. It is more expensive because, it is much higher quality than the Lowepro bag. The Session bag is just small. If you're going to get a bag for FPV, I personally would like it to be able to hold everything and be as useful as possible. Although, if you want a small bag for small things to carry and really quick session flights, the Session bag is going to be for you. That's purpose. It's just not a bag for me. The Lowepro is just not the same quality, and surprisingly, I can't even believe I'm saying that. I was so impressed with the quality of the Lowepro when I first got the bag, and I was like, I was taken back by the marketing probably and the look of the bag, because it is a better looking bag than the Helipak. But for the most part, the $130 to $150 you'll spend on this bag is not really well spent because it's not that functional. The bag you're using already is better than these 2 bags will likely be. I say that again. Keep the bag, the $20 bag, the $10 bag, the bag in your closet, the carry-on, this thing that you might be rolling around carrying your FPV equipment in. Keep that stuff. Don't spend money on these bags. It's just not worth your time. Unless you want a really small, dedicated pack for FPV, that's where this one comes into play. If you're going to spend money for an FPV bag, this is the only bag I can recommend. It is so much higher quality and so much better laid out than the other two bags that it's not even a competition. That's my recommendation. I'm sure people are going to object and say the Lowepro is fantastic, but if you look at them side by side and you really use each one independently, you'll notice that you are just have a better time and an easier time using this bag. That's that about bags.